Welcome back. We're getting a divorce. The divorce papers are inside.
I had just returned home, cradling my newborn daughter in my arms. My husband coldly dropped the bombshell and then tried to leave the house as if nothing happened. In my daze, I managed to grasp his arm, desperate for an explanation. What do you mean by divorce? You need to explain properly. I don't understand.
Nothing much, just that I don't love you anymore.
His words left me with nothing but despair. Was I the only one who was thrilled about the life that was about to begin with the three of us, now that our child was born healthy? And without even glancing at my daughter's face, my husband left with a large suitcase. My name is Mary, and I'm a 35-year-old stay-at-home mom. I'm a bit timid and was drawn to my husband's proactive personality, which is why I started dating him. A year later, I became pregnant and we decided to get married, with the sound of my baby's first cries. Wah! Wah! I finally met my little angel, weighing in at a healthy 6.6 pounds. She's a very lively girl. My adorable baby. I sent a photo of our daughter to my husband by email and then called him, but he uttered unbelievable words.
What is this?
Huh?
She's not cute. Actually, she looks like a monkey. LOL.
What are you saying? She's your daughter! After that, I lost all contact with my husband. No matter how many times I called, he wouldn't answer. I was shocked and couldn't understand why he would say such a thing to our child. Looking back, my husband never showed much interest in our unborn baby, and always seemed distracted. I had always felt uneasy about his indifference, but I was too busy dealing with severe morning sickness to address his aloof behavior. Throughout my hospital stay after childbirth, my husband never showed up, and my anxiety grew. Once he meets our baby, I'm sure Thomas will change. I kept repeating this phrase to myself like a mantra, but my wish didn't come true. My husband disappeared, leaving me and our newborn daughter behind. What should I do now? I don't have anyone to rely on. I have no parents, and my only relatives are my in-laws. My father-in-law is a quiet man who treats me kindly, but my mother-in-law is tough, and to be honest, I always felt a bit intimidated by her. Mary, how long do you plan to be a stay-at-home mom? Huh? Don't slack off just because you're pregnant. Find a job and work. Don't depend on your husband. But Thomas said he wanted me to take care of the house. I don't want to hear your excuses. From now on, you will have to balance both work and childcare. Got it? We never got along, so I felt that I couldn't rely on my in-laws. I was at a loss in this situation, but I decided to at least put my daughter to bed and open the door to go inside. However, an eerie sight awaited me. What is this? The crib I had prepared for my daughter, all the baby items, and even the furniture had all disappeared. All that was left was my few belongings and the divorce papers left on the floor. I couldn't stand and collapsed on the floor. Then my phone rang. It was my husband. Could it be that he regretted the divorce? Surely he'll reconsider and come back to me. With the sweet hope in my heart, I quickly picked up the phone. Hello? Is that you? Where are you now? Please come back soon.
I forgot to tell you, but I sold the house. You need to be out by tomorrow.
You're joking. What am I supposed to do?
Maybe you should try being homeless.
I was shocked. How much more does my husband want to hurt me? Overwhelmed by my emotions, I sobbed and pleaded with him for an explanation. First you tell me we're getting a divorce, and now you've sold the house? What have I done?
Have you looked at yourself since you got pregnant?
What do you mean?
You looked so pale every day. I thought I was living with a ghost.
He said that with a snort, and then he continued in a cold voice.
I married you because you were a woman who would do anything I said, but now I regret it.
What?
I'm divorcing you because I'm tired of your timid personality.
That's so unfair. You're being too selfish.
There's nothing more to talk about. Get your stuff and get out of the house. Bye.
At that moment, I felt a surge of hatred towards my husband for the first time. But no matter how much I blamed him, our situation wouldn't change. Feeling powerless, I decided to leave the house to buy diapers and formula that had been thrown away. But my daughter, who had been sleeping soundly until a moment ago, suddenly started crying and wouldn't stop no matter how much I tried to soothe her. Perhaps my daughter sensed my frantic feelings. Having been betrayed by my husband and losing our home, yet still having to do something for her sake. As I sat on a park bench nearby, trying to calm my daughter, an unexpected person appeared. You shouldn't take a newborn baby outside. How irresponsible can you be? Act like a mother. Mother-in-law? You really don't understand anything. How do you plan to take responsibility if something happens to this child? It seems my mother-in-law, who knew the date of my discharge, had come to visit our house. However, finding it vacant, she followed the sound of a baby crying and found me. As I was being berated by my mother-in-law, I felt a surge of emotions and began crying uncontrollably. Then, I felt a warm touch on my back. I didn't mean to make you cry, but why are you here? Where's Thomas? Please explain what happened. My mother-in-law was gently patting my back, trying to calm me down. Confused by her kindness, which I had never seen before, I slowly explained what had happened. Thomas did what? Unacceptable. If you don't have a place to stay, come to my house for now. But, no buts, let's go. I'll carry your bags. I was ushered by my mother-in-law and headed to her house. Upon arrival, she uttered words that left me astonished. Let's live together from now on. What? You don't have anywhere else to go, do you? Are you planning on becoming homeless with your baby? At least here you can stay out of the rain and have food to eat. Let's do this. I couldn't hide my confusion. Even though she had been treating me coldly and making sarcastic remarks every chance she got, she was acting like a different person now. Seeing my struggle for words, my mother-in-law gave me a sympathetic smile. I've been cold to you all this time, haven't I? I'm truly sorry. No. I was tough on Thomas, telling him to be more aware of his responsibilities as a father, but now, this has happened. I'm filled with regret for not being able to help more. It's not your fault, mother-in-law. Please lift your head. My mother-in-law drooped her shoulders, bowing her head and refusing to raise it. In the midst of this, I decided to ask a question that suddenly came to mind. I always thought you didn't like me. That's why you're cold to me. But, is there another reason? It was because seeing you reminded me of my past, and it was unbearable. It was then that I learned a truth I had not known before. The gentle and quiet man who was my father-in-law had been a womanizer in his youth. My husband, who is similar in character to my father-in-law, had also frequently caused trouble due to his relationships with women. And finally, my mother-in-law said, I just wanted you to be a strong, resilient mother. That's why I was harsh. I kept telling you to find a job so that even if you ended up getting a divorce, you wouldn't struggle to make a living. All of her harsh words had a purpose. I was overwhelmed with gratitude, knowing that my mother-in-law was truly a warm-hearted person. But why didn't you divorce my father-in-law, mother-in-law? I don't think I could bear infidelity. I would definitely divorce. That's because I was the one who was supporting our family all along. What do you mean? He used to look down on me, a stay-at-home wife at the time, and changed women as if they were disposable. But I couldn't stand it, so I started to work. Eventually, I started earning more than him. He didn't want to lose the comfortable life we had, so he became submissive to avoid me divorcing him. So the father-in-law I see today is the reformed version after he reflected on his actions. Exactly. I thought that was the best punishment for him rather than just divorcing him. As I continued to have such a conversation with my mother-in-law, I found myself smiling without realizing it. However, my mother-in-law's expression suddenly turned serious. Speaking of Thomas, suddenly wanting to get a divorce, could it be because he's having an affair and wants to be with that person? Did you notice anything unusual about his behavior? Honestly, I have no idea. But I can't just do nothing and let the divorce happen. I took out the divorce papers I had brought from home. Wait, is this? When we saw the papers, my mother-in-law and I exchanged a look, and we decided to make a plan with a certain resolution in mind. The next day, my mother-in-law called Thomas to put the plan into action. I heard you want to divorce Mary.
She already told you, huh?
What are you talking about? I'm absolutely thrilled. It's right to divorce someone like that. You should remarry with a younger and more beautiful woman.
Yeah, you're right. I never want to see her gloomy face again. She might be living under some bridge by now.
What a pathetic man. He seemed to completely believe that my mother-in-law hated me. I felt anger rising within me as I heard him getting overjoyed without knowing I was listening in on the conversation. But hell is waiting for him.
Actually, I have someone I'd like to introduce to you.
Oh? You've already found your next spouse to remarry?
Well, Yeah.
Well, that's something to celebrate. I'm going to pull out a celebratory gift for the two of you. I have a term deposit of $10,000 maturing next month. I'll give it all to you as a gift.
Are you serious?
Of course, but in return, I expect a grand celebration and a proper introduction to your partner. Don't rush and register the marriage before that, okay?
I got it. Then I'll bring my partner to my family home in a month. Please take care of the gift money.
My mother-in-law is such a great actress. My husband fell right into our plan, and mother-in-law and I exchanged satisfied smiles. I decided to continue my secret preparations until the day came. A month later, my husband, oblivious to the trap, arrived at our family home in high spirits with a young woman. I opened the front door with as much composure as I could muster and greeted them. Welcome.
Huh? Why are you here?
My husband looked as if he was about to faint from surprise, and the woman looked utterly confused. Then my mother-in-law joined us. Come in, she said with an authoritative tone. Overwhelmed, the two timidly entered the living room.
Mom, what's going on?
Shall we start, Mary? Mother-in-law smirked. I presented them with several photos of them entering a hotel and a report detailing their activities over the past month. I'm suing you for damages. With this much evidence, there's no escaping it. Be ready.
Hold on. How did you gather all this evidence?
Mother-in-law took care of the detective's fees. She said it's best to leave these things to the professionals.
Mom, why would you cooperate with her like this?
Oh, am I wrong? Who would side with a man who abandons his wife and child for another woman and plans to remarry? It's outrageous.
What about the $10,000 gift money?
That was a lie to keep you from filing the marriage registration for a month.
You tricked me.
My husband was visibly upset, and the woman sitting next to him looked like she wasn't expecting this to happen. I thought we had finally managed to punish the two of them, but then my husband said something unbelievable.
We're already divorced. You can't sue for damages by claiming I'm cheating on you now.
Thomas is right. I'm not paying any damages. I was astounded at their words. The statute of limitations for suing for damages is 3 years from the time you find out about the affair. Confidently snorting at their ignorance, I decided to share a certain truth with my husband and the woman. You know, we're still married.
Huh?
I haven't filed the divorce papers you left behind.
Stop messing around. Why haven't you filed them?
I wasn't satisfied with you just declaring a divorce without any explanation. Moreover, did you realize the incredible mess you left behind the day you moved out? Upon hearing this, my husband and the woman, who were both confused, exchanged glances. I presented them with a certain document. This is your marriage registration form, isn't it?
I thought we'd lost it. Why do you have it?
It was overlapped under the divorce papers. You really are careless to leave something like this behind. I laughed. Yes, the document I presented was their completed marriage registration form. The day we found this out, my mother-in-law and I discovered that my husband, Thomas, was planning to marry his mistress. Even though our marriage was still ongoing, we decided not to divorce immediately, but to gather evidence to prove that Thomas was having an affair. I will never forgive you for abandoning our family, and you too, Laura. I'll make sure you pay the alimony. As I declared this, the color quickly drained from Thomas's face. However, for some reason, the woman had a triumphant expression on her face. Well, if you're going to divorce him, that's actually fine with me, she smirked. Huh? Because Thomas is rich, he can afford to pay whatever alimony he needs to, right? Hearing the woman's words, I finally understood the odd feeling I had about my husband. Thomas was by no means a high-income earner. Yet, when he appeared for the first time in a month, he was dressed in head-to-toe designer brands. I presumed that my husband, Thomas, had been pretending to this woman that he was wealthy. In order to finance his affair, I assumed he sold our furniture, baby items, and even our house. I decided to break the news to this smug woman. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but this man isn't rich at all. What are you talking about? He only makes around $1,500 a month. That's pretty low for his age. I'm his wife. I know what I'm talking about. What? That's not what I heard. Thomas, is what this woman's saying true? Why so silent? You look like you've seen a ghost. Why don't you tell Laura the truth yourself? Unable to utter a word, Thomas just hung his head. The woman, losing her patience, exploded in anger. I call off our engagement. I have no use for a man with no money.
Wait, please, don't abandon me.
I had never seen my husband in such a pitiful state. As soon as the woman announced the cancellation of their engagement, Thomas fell to his knees, begging for forgiveness. I couldn't stand their display, so I interrupted them with the shout, "Enough! If you want to fight, do it elsewhere. Get out right now!" The two, startled by my sudden outburst, fell silent. Then my mother-in-law, who had been silent all this time, finally spoke. "Thomas, you're no longer my son."
Mom, what do you mean by that?
"I'm disowning you. Take that woman and leave right now. Don't ever show your face again, got it?" Frightened by the fierce expressions of me and my mother-in-law, the two were paralyzed. I shoved the pre-prepared written promises at them, making them pledge to pay alimony and, in Thomas's case, child support as well. They left the house as if fleeing. I submitted the divorce papers that very day, putting an end to my married life with Thomas. Afterwards, just as I had expected, my ex-husband broke up with the woman. He had even resorted to borrowing money from loan sharks to pretend to be rich. After collection calls were made to his workplace, he was fired and forced to find day labor jobs to pay the $20,000 alimony and $300 monthly child support. Of course, we also demanded $15,000 from his mistress, who had to resort to working in shady nightclubs to pay it off. As for me, I've managed to build a strong relationship with my mother-in-law, whom I used to be wary of. Having divorced and lost my family, my mother-in-law proposed, "Let's continue living together." I decided to rely on her kindness. I've started working and juggling it with raising my child. I can feel myself changing little by little each day. I think it's because I've become a mother and have someone I need to protect, and because I've been watching my mother-in-law up close. I want to continue living peaceful days with my beloved daughter and the in-laws who I want to cherish for the rest of my life.